On this week's episode of the Superhero Show, we'll find out if Dr. Connors chooses lizard or man.
If MJ chooses getting married or staying single.
And if Gila, Monitor, and Gecko choose to have not dumbass names. All of that and more on an all-new episode of the Superhero Show. Hello, nerds, and welcome to the Superhero Show, the only podcast that covers every single TV show based on comics that we feel like covering. And you know what? When there are none, we go back to the olden days. So this will be an old Spider-Man only, the animated series from the 90s episode. But Ryan, before we do that, I'm Mike, you're Ryan. Let's talk about Thunderbolts.
Yeah, should we do a quick little review?
I think it's why I left my real job early to go, because I was like, well, my job that I care about is probably going to demand we talk about it.
All right, so you're revealing to our audience that nobody at your work listens to this podcast.
They don't know I have a podcast. I have a different name.
Yeah. Geik.
Oh?
Is it Geik? Is it Geik? Do you work at Geico?
I work at Geico. I'm the lizard.
Did you? Because your last name is O. You thought Maiko should work at Geico?
Yeah. And that's what I put in my cover letter, and they hired me. So whose fault?
So was the movie better than your job?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
On a Friday afternoon, what isn't? But do you know what that movie was better than, Ryan? So many Marvel movies that have come out in recent years. I was shocked and delighted. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, it was, I guess, shocked because I just thought that we were going to have these movies that are just mishmashes of bullshit for the rest of our lives. And it was not, a great film by any standards.
No.
Except for Marvel standards. Except for modern Marvel standards.
Here, let's do this, because it's been a minute since we've talked about it. One, it sucks that it's impossible to talk about a Marvel movie. You have to talk about every 30 films that came before. It is the Ricky Bobby syndrome that the MCU has. Not Ricky Bobby, Dewey Cox. What was a great Marvel film?
Iron Man 3. My beloved Iron Man 3.
Okay. Is that the one?
I'm the only person to ever think that. I think that...
No, I love Iron Man 3.
I don't think that there's really anything that's ever made my top 10 of the year, per se. But, the closest are probably a couple Captain Americas, maybe Black Panther. What do you got there
on your shelves? I'll take a couple Captain Americas, give you a Black Panther. Yeah, okay. So, let's take the capital F off a film there. What you texted this audience? We do talk when we're not a mic. It pains us, but we do it, and it's the best thing I've heard anybody say about this movie. Because with all things now, people are either this is the worst dog shit, or this is the best dog shit. Nobody can just have a nuanced, thoughtful take on what Marvel movies do these days. But you said it felt like one person wrote it, and it felt like one person directed it, and it had a singular vision the whole time. Yes, so apt. And is that damning with faint praise? Maybe. But even that, no other Marvel movie has. No Way Home, maybe? And even that gets... I rewatched that recently, and it's a little bullshitty.
No Way Home is a lot of stuff happening. Every single idea. I get that No Way Home, feels like No Way Home instead of something like Love and Thunder, Wakanda Forever. Just all the recent stuff has just felt like, let's include every single idea, and then let's go back and reshoot a bunch of stuff to make it even less sensical. And I think that they're always attempting to make it more sensical.
Yeah.
That's just a bad strategy. But yeah, this one seemed like I have an idea. It's going to have these ideas in it. I'll write it up and you direct it. Okay. And then we'll just release it. Sounds good.
And just for an ensemble too, what if we really they tiered it? You could see the whiteboard. They're like, okay, we care the most about Yelena. And then
Taskmaster.
And then Taskmaster, of course, spoiler, Taskmaster steals the movie. There's just a clear ranking, and sure, your favorite might not be included, and that's fine. If you're like, man, Bucky, who I think should take over the mantle of the MCU, is a tertiary character. Yes, he is. This is not Bucky's story, but that's fine. Just like the comics he's in service to Yelena's is really, it surprised me. It's Yelena and then John Walker. And then Ghost and Alexei. Everybody serves his needs. I don't know. I dug it. And when you get Florence Pugh, let her just run away at the movie. That's what we do.
I know he's a congressman now, I guess,
Uh-huh.
but I think Bucky should restart S.H.I.E.L.D. and he should take the Samuel L. Jackson role.
That makes the most sense of all the, more than Wong. I can't see Wong showing up in Thunderbolts being like, Avengers, here's what we need to do. I wisely did not try to do a Benedict Wong impression.
He's married to Madison from She-Hulk now, anyway.
Oh, well, let's see that sitcom.
Like, there were missteps, there were scenes that were corny, more so lines that were corny. The Marvel attempting to make us laugh thing just won't die in that specific Marvel way. I saw it in a full theater where there was almost no laughing whatsoever. But here's the thing. At the end of the movie, or going into the third act, I understood like what the MacGuffins were and what the motivations of the character were. And again, I'm sorry, like you said, this is going to all sound like damning with faint praise, but like we're not asking for that much, it turns out.
And there wasn't a scene or a character that I'm like, why are they here? What did you do this for? There's no now I can't remember. Snake Master? What was his name?
Yeah.
There's no Snake Master suddenly like killing a guy who has D-Man's name human name from the comics. Like there was not like some bullshit that you're like, who is this for? Because it's not for comic fans or normal moviegoers. So why are we doing this?
The one thing I wonder, and all of the people that in my life who are normies have basically written this off since Endgame.
Why?
So I can't really talk to them about it anymore. But the one thing I wonder is for the normies who would go and see Winter Soldier and Civil War and stuff like that, does this feel like a movie to them, especially the first 30 minutes when there's like this person from the supporting character from Black Widow and then TV characters? And in that way, it's still part of a series. The way that you describe the tierings of the characters sounds more like you're talking about a TV show.
Sure.
And that stuff, like, I guess I've accepted because this is just something that, hasn't never been done and will never be done again of this series of movies. But like, for me, there are moments in this movie that, particularly with Yelena and her dad, that are actual scenes, like scenes with two characters speaking to each other and arcing and growing and developing. And like truly touching. I am praying, maybe not the right word, but I'm hoping that Fantastic Four outshines it. I do think that there's better things to come, hopefully. But for our smaller movie of the year, if we get 2 a year and there's a bigger and a smaller, I'll take this. I'll take this all fucking day.
And I'll argue that, so maybe you don't know all the characters because you haven't caught up, but they set up Yelena as our main character right away and what she wants and needs right away to feel anything. And so I kind of don't give a shit that there's these people I don't know. I'll get to know them. And I thought they did a good job at, here's how much you should get to know Ghost. Here's how much you should get to know Taskmaster. And people were saying Taskmaster steals the movie. You really got to invest. Go back and watch Black Widow. Super important character.
I don't want to spoil anything for the people who haven't watched it yet, because we didn't even say we didn't even discuss talking about this movie or preview it. You just jumped right into it. So I'll tread lightly, but the fact that they decided that like fuck Kang and then even fuck Dr. Doom, but the Taskmaster is going to be the big bad for phases 5 through 12.
It was bold, and that both Antonia, was that her name?
I mean,
and Zemo share Taskmaster. Like Taskmaster is now kind of a group, and so there's numerous Taskmasters.
Yeah, and their stuff, like all their limbs are attached with sticks, so they walk around like that Jackson 5 costume.
It's a great costume.
Yeah, you would think that would be stupid, but I thought it would made them more threatening.
And if you really want to get the movie, you do have to watch the most recent episode of the internet interview series Taskmaster with Jason Mantzoukas. That really ties this all together.
Is Jason Mantzoukas going to take over this part soon?
I think so.
Wild stuff's happening over at Marvel right now, guys.
Wild Wild stuff. Do you have a moment of the week
For
for
Thunderbolts?
Thunderbolts?
The movies that I almost just called Taskmaster because they're in it so much.
She's important. They
just
yes.
call
All
it
of them.
Taskmaster. I know that you have an issue with pronouns, but more than one person, you can call they, right? Are you okay with that?
No, that's gone. They is stricken from the English language.
They, them,
You
even
say
if you're more than one
all
person.
those Ewans.
I think that my moment of the week is this is not something I'm going to reveal. I won't spoil this part, but there was a gasp so loud at my screening. No laughter, but a gasp. And then I was listening to a podcast, and they said it happened exactly in the same spot in their screening from a totally quiet audience. It has to do with a little girl.
Oh yeah.
Did your audience react, or did you even have an audience?
There's like 9 of us. So I don't know. There's a lot of people playing hooky from Geico that day.
But yeah, when Taskmaster becomes the little girl from Schindler's List in the red dress, it was a huge moment. Gasp.
Because we don't yet know what's happening to people. And so, yeah, it was, yeah. Yeah, mine is not a moment of the week. I had no idea who Lewis Pullman is. And at first, Bob was very twitchy. And I was like, oh, great. One of these kinds of actors who I can't act, so I sure will blink and squint a lot. And he kind of won me over. Things the movie did cheated, like he is kind of, seduced by Val, not in a sexual way, maybe. But all of it, like, let's motor. We get it. We get the beats. Let's just do it. That's fine.
I think he was tasked, like the Taskmaster would, to do a lot, to arc very quickly, to go from the shy, nebbishy guy to, unsure to super sure to now unsure again.
Yeah.
He also, in a weird twist, has something to do with the villain. So it was a lot to do, and they did the best they could. His characterization was probably the most that sounded, or the time that felt the most like there was too many cooks in the kitchen as far as writers and directors of just like all the stuff he had to do. But I agree, was very good.
Yeah, I think he stepped up to the plate for a character the writing team, the conglomerate that runs Marvel should have been like, well, we're never fucking putting the Sentry in a movie.
Do you remember who it was supposed to be?
My brain is dying. Glenn Steven Yeun.
From Walking. Yeah, he quit when everyone started to. Everybody was like, I don't think I want to be a part of this anymore.
Yeah,
he would have been great, but Pullman's great too.
Yeah, and like what's great, there's room for both. And Steven Yeun has a pretty great career going on, and now this Lewis Pullman cat, who again never heard of. I bet he's British or Australian or some shit.
And now Steven Yeun can be somebody else in the MCU. Come back, Steve.
Come back, Steve. Come on, Steve. Invincible's kind of, just running the same beats. That's not what we're here to talk about. So that is Thunderbolts. We're going to take the quickest breaks, and when we come back, Spider-Man. Welcome to S Tasmania, bitch, a mini show within a show where we dive into the seminal and underrated after-school cartoon of the mid-90s, Spider-Man the Animated Series. This week, on the penultimate episode of Season 4 of Spider-Man, Partners in Danger, Coleman, we don't really care about what this subtitle is anymore, do we, other writers of Spider-Man? Peter is swinging MJ around the city, talking about being Spider-Man, and takes her to his friend Bruce, the gargoyle.
Right, which, of course, the shark from Jaws is named. And that shark didn't work out so well in the movie. Like, it just was kind of mechanically deficient.
Are you saying something about the gargoyle?
Yeah, they're both named Bruce.
I've actually never met a Bruce who isn't mechanically deficient.
It's true.
And if you're like, what about Batman? He's emotionally, mechanically deficient. I don't think, and I know these are kind of aired out of order, even like this 30 years later, how we're watching them. I don't know if Peter and MJ were even dating before she disappeared and came back, and he just proposed marriage.
Okay, so we sort of showed both of our asses last week when we talked about we didn't even know if this Mysterio thing was a flashback or not. This week, we're not tracking MJ and PD's relationship the way that most people probably, but the way that we would in other forms of media. I think they're relying on two things. One, them being together off and on for the entire series, of which I'm pretty sure he has gone out more times with Felicia than he has MJ.
Yes,
and
1,000%.
Two, like they'll do. There's few characters in the world you could just do this with. Like, if you don't want to do the Clark and Lois get together thing, we have seen it so many times you could just sort of skip it.
I just kind of wanted to rewrite and have her be like, bro, we've been on 3 dates. Yeah. I know our aunts are friends, but that's fucking crazy.
But I don't know if
It's-
MJ has I don't know, her head screwed on exactly
oh,
tightly.
also, yeah, you're right. I don't think this is an ethical question from Pete. I think she and her response to him, I think, proves this. She's not in a place where she should maybe make a commitment to anybody. Because Ryan, what does she do?
She listens to the proposal and takes a beat to think about it, and then does what every person who proposes to anybody else wants to happen. She jumps directly off the building without saying a word.
And he jumps and catches her. I thought, like, did I blink and like a bad guy pushed her? Like, what happened?
I love the bad guy who just runs by and shoves and then
Boom.
flies away.
The pusher. He's like, why did you do that? She said, to prove to myself you'll always be there when it really counts. And he didn't say, wait, you're right. You need mental health.
I'm going to swing right over to the hospital.
He pulls out from his little Spidey hidden pocket a random Spidey doodad and says, well, this is your ring. And we
It's
find
a tracer.
out later, it's a tracer. Cool, bro.
Well, MJ, that was a very red flag. And so to match you in that, I'm going to put a tracer on you so I know where you are at all times.
When you're in a romantic relationship, see red flag, raise them a red flag. That is the best way to go. We hard cut to Doc Connors running, looking paranoid, and then there's Red Eyes just in the sewer. Commercial break. When we come back, 3 lizard folks are watching him and saying things like, he must be ours.
Yeah, I mean, there was 3 of them and not 4 of them, which means this was not a copy of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at all, because there's 4 Ninja Turtles.
Right. And
and one of these is a woman.
People. And we hadn't even gotten Venus de Milo, the lady turtle, yet.
Right. Who I do not recognize as canon, but you go ahead with your woke turtle bullshit.
I'm pretty sure we watched that in an incarnation of this show like 8 years ago.
It was live action, right?
Yeah, it was terrible. And we learned lady turtles have boobs.
You learned.
We cut back to Aunt May's, and the scene opens with Anna saying, "You're what?" And Aunt May is very happy.
I was excited about this scene because once I saw the characters in it, because Aunt Anna hates Peter's guts and roasts him constantly when he does nothing.
Right.
When he decides to propose to her mentally unstable niece, which is probably also her daughter and her sister in a Chinatown situation based on how she's acting. I was like, yeah, Anna didn't go that hard on him. I thought she could have gone harder based on the situation.
She was like too stunned. Her reason, she's like, you're too young. How will you live? Where will you live? I just got her back. And for the first time, I'm like, you're right. I'm on Anna's side.
I'm on Anna's side, yeah.
Especially when they're like, well, we're going to get married in a month, so you're going to have to deal with that, Anna. What the fuck? And Aunt May is, maybe it's time to find a home. Oblivious. She's like, isn't this great, Anna?
Yeah.
Were you not in this room, May?
Aunt May also mentally unstable, but she's 100, so it makes more sense.
We all should be at that point. We weren't meant to live.
God willing.
I'll die tomorrow, please. Is God taking orders?
Just so you know, but just so we're clear that MJ is just totally doesn't have her head in her ass. She says, and we'll be getting married in a month. Bitch, do you know how much stuff there is to prepare for a wedding?
Is it going to be the 4 of you? You and your 2 aunts?
Even then, a month is too soon.
It's going to be at least one more because they just barge into Connor's office and he's clearly not into it. And MJ, who I guess has met him off screen, is just like, well, we don't know any men of your age. And you're not just a professor to Peter. You're also kind of like his father. And Connor's just like, what the fuck? And she's like, can you give the bride away? So many steps to be like, normally it should be somebody close to the bride, right?
I mean, like, listeners, email us a screenshot of any scene that MJ and Curt Connors have been in with each other. And Michael Venmo you $5 for that sweet
I will,
JPEG.
legit. I have $5 for the one Photoshop freak who sends this in.
The rude part was that MJ, was like, I've accepted Peter's hand in marriage, and then looks directly at his lack of hands. Like, MJ, keep your eyes off that space.
It's that kind of thing where you're like, I didn't want to use that phrase.
That sounded amazing.
Then we cut to the lizards who are like just in the hallway, argue about whether Connors could be their father, and the girl lizard is like, I feel it in my blood, which is also how I recognized Handcart Brooklyn when I first met him the first time when I was 14.
Your father, yes.
Listeners know if I say Handcart Brooklyn who that is, right? They're up on the lore.
Yeah, they're like presumably they've been in the sewers for years waiting for their perfect moment, and now they're just outside the window watching all this, watching their father.
No, not yet. This is very kind of them to ask him to do this, so let's just let him have his
Let's
moment.
not ruin this one moment. But they're probably pissed because Gila and Monitor and who's it?
Gecko?
Geico? I think you're just thinking of your job. They're probably jealous because that's his job is to give them away at their fucking lizard wedding that is probably also in a month. All three of them they're a throuple.
Well, yeah, that's what lizard siblings do. They say we must return to the realm with her father. They beat everybody up. They grab both MJ and Connors. Why MJ? Who knows? Got to do something. But her ring's a tracer. This is when we discover that. And then we get the flashback. They were normal lizards, but then they licked his blood, and that transformed him. When he got mad that his thing wasn't working, we get a flashback. That's a lot of flashbacks.
I'm so sorry. Can we say ate or drank his blood?
Not licked?
I do not like they licked his blood. That's fucking...
He throws his radioactive blood into his sewers where nobody reptile has ever turned into anything before. And all these little... apparently, it's not just alligators. New York City sewers are lousy with loose lizards of different... They all look the same kind, but their names are different kinds of lizards.
Couple of questions. One, this has the same issue with mutagen and all the problems with Ninja Turtles, all the various different Ninja Turtles where sometimes you're a man and you stand in the mutagen with the animal that you become.
Sure.
Sometimes you're a baby animal and then you become a teenage manimal. And then the biggest question is, why isn't there poop monsters running around if this blood is in the sewers? There should be
Let's get the Gagolfin shit demon from Dogma running around.
Did you say golf and shit?
Gagolfin.
You said golf and shit, which is where I had so many birthday parties when I was a little boy.
Golf and shit. Because
what do you guys
gonna
have
do?
here?
You're 8. MJ and Connors are whispering in the sewers, and she's like, "They're as crazy as they are ugly." And he's like, "You gotta fucking shut up. They will bite your head off." He does start to change and tells MJ to run and tell his wife and son that he loves them. And she finds Spidey. And is instantly like, "Hey, here's what's happening to Connors. You can't go. You have to tell somebody else." And he's like, "No, I have to do this." And she's like, "Is this how it's always going to be?" Dude. Instantly telling a boy to drop his hobbies.
8 minutes of screen time, by the way, between MJ being excited to be Spider-Man's wife to being like, fuck this shit. 8 minutes.
Can you relate?
Also, is this where you're going to have to fill in some blanks for me because I have a sketchy memory, but is this where Paul F. Tompkins on the podcast Comedy Bang Bang got his idea for the character that lives in the sewer and his dad is a lizard and they're all going to come and attack society soon? Is that
the little kid who's
the 8-year-old boy?
There's a word he repeats. Essentially?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
Because he's a takeoff of that kid on the news.
I don't know a kid on the news. So
yeah, he's like, because basically I went on a roller coaster and basically it went very fast. I don't think it was basically, but yeah, lots of stuff going on here between the news kid, this episode of Spider-Man, the animated series, and Paul F. Tompkins.
Mary Jane is like, "Oh yeah, fine, you go do it. I won't do anything." She runs and tells Mrs. Connors, and she is shocked the wife knows he's the lizard. And she's like, "Well, yeah. I'm here to."
Of course, she knocks on the door, and the doctor's like, "Oh, MJ, one of my best friends." MJ's like, "Oh, Miss Connors, we go so far back. Let's not even get into details of how far back we go. Let's just be homies, and I don't know, maybe eventually, no spoilers, save the day."
They do see a videotape Connors made, where if you're watching this is, I always knew this would happen. Something's gone terribly wrong. I did make a genetic neutron bomb that will only hurt neogenics. So go do that. Cool.
Now, neogenic is their word for mutant, right?
Yeah. It's their word for everything.
Yeah, because that was what last season was called, right?
The neogenic nightmare.
The neogenic nightmare.
When she's like, "Oh, where's Peter, Mrs. Connors? Can he help? Because he knows neogenics." MJ's like, "Nah, he's out of town on a photo assignment. Let's get Deborah Whitman." Then we go back to there are more lizard people. It's not just the three. There's a whole arena army of them. And Connors fully transforms and he goes, "It's clear to me I am your father," which was when you're surrounded by a bunch of homicidal lizard people, just be like, "Yeah, I'm your dad."
What the fuck happened while MJ was at Mrs. Connors' house for the lizard just to go like I'm 100% in. This is my new life.
You know what? There's no other human to keep me here. This seems pretty good. My marriage is pretty bad.
He might be kind of lizard brained.
Of course, there's a long, flashback to Connors and things. We cut to Flash and Deb, so we know Mrs. Connors and MJ are looking for Deborah. Flash and Deb, Deb just wants to party. They're on campus. And Flash says, "We've partied every night for the last 2 weeks. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I need to study." And she's like, "Well, you study. I'm going to keep partying. Because who gives a shit about anything? I couldn't help Morbius, so I'm not a scientist anymore."
Yeah, okay, good. Thanks for mentioning Morbius again. I'm glad we got him in the conversation as well.
He is the secondary character to this whole thing. It could be Spider-Man, the animated series, presents Morbius. They just find Deb on campus of a big school immediately, looking like a hoe. And they're like, "Stop crying. We need you to do this neogenic neutron bomb." And she's like, "I love science. I'm back in. Let's do this, ladies."
Science? I'm a scientist. That's awesome.
We cut back down to the sewers. Gila, the lady lizard, has been thrust out of her society because she's like, "I don't know. Should we not kill all humans? Can we just calm down for 1 second?" And they're like, "You're a traitor."
She's nervous about looking like a monster. Gila, what's your last name?
She finds Spider-Man and he's like, "You guys were an accident." And she's like, "Oh, then we got to go to the games and kill everything because who gives a shit if we're just accidents?" Honey, most kids are accidents.
Yeah,
it's
we all are. This podcast is an accident. This country's an accident. Don't worry about it. But I love the look on Spidey's face when he says that. They're trapped up. She's very dangerous. And he's like, we're both, or you guys are accidents. And she's like, "What'd you just say?" And he's like, "Fuck, that was probably not the right thing to say right now."
He's not very empathetic. There's a whole throne room and stadium, and we learn there are thousands of lizard people, and they've built mostly a Roman Colosseum down in these sewers for their sick games.
That's probably what convinced Connors is if it's you three in this stinky pipe, no, we're not going to do that. I'm going to go back home to my family. But then he walks in and sees a full-on underground Coliseum, and he's like, "They went to all this work. I can't make him feel bad about this."
Who turns down a throne?
Right.
So, and they're wandering the sewers, and MJ's like, "Why are you doing this? Isn't this crazy? Shouldn't we leave our men who have hobbies and interests?" And Margaret's like, "No, this, I do this for Curt. This is how strong I am, and it shows me what's capable of." And MJ's like, "Oh, I should care about other people?"
Yeah, I mean, come on, MJ, but then also, is it Elizabeth, Curt Connors' wife?
Margaret,
of course, but Elizabeth short for Margaret. Did you are you saying that your life just had no purpose and then you're glad that your husband became a villain to give your empty life purpose?
It did. They were in a rut. And this kind of tackled him up. The things he can do with his tail, including whack Spider-Man. His arena people are not beating up Spider-Man and Gila enough, so the lizard is like, "I'll fucking do this shit myself."
Yeah, jumps in and hits somebody, I think Spider-Man, with his tail so hard, even though the wall is 1 foot away.
Deborah comes in and tackles a guard and knocks him out, but then he drags her into the arena, and then they're just hot potatoing the neutron bomb.
We're at full Frasier farce at this point.
Yes. Everybody's in wigs, kissing somebody they shouldn't be kissing. Gila is in the middle, fighting in chaos, and she's sitting in the middle of the arena saying, "We have chosen stupidity and brutality. We could have been better than the humans, but we decided to be worse." And she sets off the bomb, and they all just shrink into normal little lizard people.
Which, I'm glad that the bomb remembered what the original state of everybody was. What if you lost all the lizard, but you were just a human giant baby? What if you were a 6 foot tall human baby?
That's a horror story. Spidey says, even with all my superpowers, I was helpless. It took 3 normal women to save the day. What a feminist.
Yeah, and MJ's like, "What, does that piss you off?" And he's like, "No, I just wanted to be part of it. I just wanted like maybe to be on the team, but I guess 3 normal women are the same as Spider-Man."
That's the cartoon spinoff, not the Fantastic Four. The 3 normal women. And then Spidey and her kiss up on a rooftop, and he says, "Are you sure you want to be Spider-Man's wife?" And she says, "Yes, probably."
Until next week, I guess I will. I actually saw the name of season 5, episode 1, of which we're 2 episodes away. So,
Is it the wedding, the big day?
yeah, and episode 2 is called The Divorce.
Episode 3, the remarriage. Ryan, what's your web zinger?
My web zinger is something tells me. Oh, Lizard says we need to get into the auditorium for the games. They call everything the games. And Spidey says something tells me we're not going to play checkers.
You have a great fake laugh. Mine is also Spidey in that scenario. It's when they see the arena, he goes, "This is exactly why I left professional wrestling."
And honorable mention to, he sees a lizard with claws and says, "You should meet my good friend Wolverine," which is not a joke. It's not. It's barely a reference.
Anything.
I don't know if it's bragging that he's friends with Wolverine.
There was a comedian in like the mid-aughts who made fun of other comedians, but he's like, when comics get up there and they just go, "Y'all remember Slinkies?" and they don't have a joke. That was the exact kind of.
Honestly, though, do you remember Slinkies?
Y'all, yeah. Friends with Boppets. Toys are friends. Kung Fu Grip, Ryan.
I have to give it to my one of 3 regular women tackling a giant lizard person out of nowhere in her tennis dress, or as Mike calls it, looking slutty on campus. Unfortunately, that leads to her, being dragged by the foot. And I think he swings around to hit the other 2 regular women.
Look, use an improvised weapon when you need to. But yeah, that is also mine. It's Deb tackling that giant lizard. Who knew she could do it? It's because she's been wrestling with Flash so much. She knows she could take down a big guy. The most 90s moment.
I mean, we have to give Mike time to think of one. We have to give it to Connors and his "If Something Bad Happens" VHS tape, which, first of all, Margaret Elizabeth, you didn't watch that shit when Connors was at work. You weren't so curious as to see. But in 99 or whenever this was, still VHSs are absolute dog shit. You can barely see the picture. There's tracking problems everywhere. 90s, man.
That was clearly mine. 90s, man. In a New York minute.
It's just sewers. Everything's sewers. It's just
everything's sewers, baby.
They spent centuries building New York sewers and then built a tiny little city on top, is what I think.
And then the Cassie compliment.
I wrote that I think that we are both thankful that Cassie says what the lizard says at one point in this episode. I think the lizard got it from Cassie, in fact, when Lizard says, "It's clear to me now. I am your father."
Mine is something that I've often said. With all my super podcasting talents, I'm helpless. It takes one normal woman to save the day.
Instead of us 2 Spider-Men?
Yep. That is the show. Ryan, websites.
Of course, go to popfilter.co. That is our headquarters and our home base where you can get all of our podcasts if you like listening to them from websites instead of podcatchers. And then cybersprout.net is how we built that and how many other people built much better websites than that one. Go to cybersprout.net for all of your web building needs. They are a digital partner in a Dream Dragon world.
It is a digital partner in Dream Dragon world. If you like this show and wish there was somebody to wrangle us in a little, you should check out Movie of the Year. We are starting our new season. I'm not going to say what it is because I can't remember if it's announced. Or should we tell these listeners of Superheroes sneak peek? Should we? Ryan?
Yeah, do it.
It's 1999. We're going back to the beginning. It's our neogenic nightmare. Flashing back, doing new movies. if you want to reach out to us, hit us up on Instagram at YourPopFilter or on YouTube at PopFilterCo. And Ryan, I know you like to talk about this one. We have a big email show coming up.
Yes, we do. Did we get that email for our listeners?
No, we didn't. Hit us up on YouTube and Instagram.
We really have to decide who is doing that.
Email is coming. Next week, it is the season finale of Spider-Man, the animated series. And do you know who's there?
Cassie?
It's the Prowler.
That's what I call Cassie.
And Cassie. Enough said.